finally, let's talk about the other Georgia man. Mr. James Cook was brought in on a visit with the Baltimore Ravens. James Cook, the running back, the sibling of Mr. Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the NFL. We actually saw Dalvin Cook break off a really big run against the Ravens. Actually, shout out to the horrendous tackling. Ugh. That was a bad game to be a Ravens fan trying to watch those tackles. That was atrocious watching that. But you know what? I don't want to bring up that game. Never mind. That game sucked. James Cook. He's being brought into Baltimore. He's a potential third, fourth, fifth round pick. It's tough to judge players that are, later in the draft in terms of where they'll go. It's obvious for first round picks. Yeah, this first round talent. He could go third round. He could slide because people like other running backs more. But James Cook is a good running back. Georgia's produced a lot of great running backs in the past, most notably Todd Gurley. They also came out with DeAndre Swift. They came out with Trey. I'm blanking on his name. The Patriot running back that is now in St. Louis. But they've come out with a lot of players, and they've been really solid. That's just been something that they've done. They have been RBU in the NFL, I believe, over the last 5 or 6 years. They have another one coming out. They actually have 2 coming out. But let's talk about James Cook since the Ravens did bring him in. Not Sam Presti, OKC fan and me talking. Just watched a 2-hour-long press conference from him yesterday that came out. Mr. Now I'm blanking on our GM's name. Wow, this is bad. Mr. Eric DeCosta, talked about it in his press conference, saying, yeah, we don't really expect to take a running back in the second round, but the right guy was available. Could happen. So that leaves open the possibility, and we've talked about it a few times. Drafting a running back, we like the possibility of drafting a guy if they want to do it, later in the draft. They could also go undrafted, but James Cook has been a guy that a lot of Ravens fans have really loved. Joshua, is James Cook, if you're going after a running back, is James Cook the guy that you would want, or is there someone else that you feel like would be a better fit or whatnot for the Ravens?
Right now, I like James Cook. James Cook, he's just on the slendest. He's on the slender side. But if we are going to be one of these fast moving hybrid type of offenses, honestly, I want the running back out of University of Florida, Damian Perine.
I think it's Damian Pierce.
Pierce, okay. Very agile, very quick. Good on his feet, run good routes. Fast out the backfield. We need those type of guys to hit that edge. To keep on pressing the envelope. Something that we didn't see as much last year, and I feel like it's going to be a lot more used this year, is the check downs with Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and stuff like that. Or maybe even a Hassan Haskins. Maybe we don't keep Gus. Did we? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we re-signed him another 2 years with us.
Yeah, he's on I think he has 1 year left on his deal. 1 or 2 years left. I believe it's 1 year left on his deal.
Okay, so we get that. We get another young, fresh, big body running back. That runs hard, doesn't gives up. Just knows how to extend plays. That's exactly what we get in Gus. So it's good to have that 1-2 combo here in Baltimore. The way we run the ball. So it's nothing against James Cook. He's a great dynamic running back. But honestly, me taking a running back in the second round this early in this year's draft, I would be very disappointed for the simple fact that, yes, we can go up our best player available, but I feel like a best player available in the second round would possibly be another corner, maybe another edge rusher, maybe another wide receiver that could be immediate impact players. And right now at the running back position, we don't need an immediate impact player. In my opinion, we can go late 6th round or either go undrafted. As much as I love my running backs, they have been undervalued and underappreciated because a lot of offenses are spreading the ball around. They're running 7-on-7 with the pads nowadays, and My running backs are not getting the same love as they once used to. But I still would love to see us to go maybe for undrafted free agent, maybe a Ezra Gray out of Alabama State, Khalil Wilkins out of Bowie State. Anything can happen. Maybe even the running back out of Notre Dame if he goes undrafted as well in the later rounds. So anything is possible. The Ravens just need to take care of the major issues first.
Yeah, and what's funny is I have the exact opposite when I think of adding a new running back. I want to add a super massive truck to use
Okay.
as that goal line running back, because I do agree. I think the Ravens do need to utilize the passing game. And I think Gus and JK, I think they've worked on that. And J.K. Dobbins, I think, is a really solid pass catcher. He did not show it his rookie year, but he can do it. If anyone remembers when he mossed, I think he mossed Malik Harrison in training camp, which,
Yeah.
funny enough, college teammate. But overall, he can catch the ball. He had a lapse. He had a significant drop in the playoff game, I believe, against the Bills is when he had that drop. I know he had a crucial drop. But that's what they've been working on. That was what they worked on all offseason was they wanted to get better at that. It was route running. It was pass catching. Gus was working on slimming down. Well, if the
Yeah.
bus if the bus is getting smaller, we may need a freight train. That's why I like Robinson Jr. out of Alabama, who's like six
Ooh,
foot
okay.
two, 235 pounds.
Okay.
Like that's the kind of guy I'm looking for is allow JK and Gus to be out there most of the time, but then in those third down situations, don't have Lamar running up the middle on a QB power. You can have Lamar run, just don't have it be directly up the middle because if he gets stood up, he's not pushing anyone over.
Agreed.
Robinson could be that Derrick Henry, pick him up, throw him on your back, grab a few more defenders, and take it all the way to the end zone. Similar to how like Gus Edwards was when he initially came to Baltimore. Remember when it was like his first entire year? I'm pretty sure he had 0 carries of negative yardage because he just
Yeah.
he just turned those legs, kept pushing forward. Well,
Just not.
he's worked on his cuts and he's been working on stuff. And I think he's a better running back than he used to be, but he's a little bit slimmer. He's a little bit more agile. And that just means he's not as good between the tackles, I think, as he used to be as a pure power back. Now he's like a one cut. He can get outside, kind of beat you with the speed a little bit more than he used to. I want to go for a big body. James Cook, I think I would be happy with James Cook. Honestly, he's probably my number 2 running back for the Ravens, behind Robinson, because I do think he can be a bit of a power guy. I just want a little bit more size because I feel like James Cook is too similar to what we already have. I think he's too similar to Gus and JK.
All right. So let me ask you this: which running back in this year's draft is a Marshawn Lynch comp?
I mean, that would be Mr. Robinson.
You want to take oh man, what's his name? Out of University of Cincinnati?
He is also a truck. I want to look up his size.
I think he might be 5'11", 6 foot even.
Jerome Ford or Jeremy Ford.
Yeah.
I want to see his stats. Okay, he's about 5'10", 209, which is nice. But when you have a Brian Robinson at 6 foot, I want to see his NFL because that'll be the most legit possible source that I can find on his stats. 6'2", 225 pounds, 4.5, 40-yard dash. Oh, it's just so filthy. It's just so filthy. Like, that's the first weakness that NFL has for him. Running style is begging for durability concerns. The question isn't, oh, he's not durable. It's, this guy is so physical and strong that we're scared that he can't do it for long because he's that good.
It's cool. We don't need it. I mean, and the sad thing is the lifespan of running backs is dwindling.
Yeah. Like, his NFL comparison is actually Chris Carson,
Wow.
which, hey, you know what? Power running back. I think he's bigger than Chris Carson, but
Yeah.
man. But like James Cook is solid. Like James Cook could be a really good running back in the NFL. I don't think he's as good as his brother was. Dalvin was a freak at Florida State, but I think James Cook is really solid. It's also tough because he was in a good backfield with White. I can't remember which White. There's like 3 Whites.
I think that was Zamir.
Zamir White? Yeah. Zamir White. There's so many of them in this draft, which is just crazy. I don't know why they all have the same last name. But overall, like, I think he's solid. But I like Robinson the most, but Cook would probably be my number 2. And then I do really like Dameon Pierce. I also like Tyler Beatty. Tyler Beatty is a pass catching running back. He is a 5'8", 5'8" tiny guy. But I do like him as well. But do you have anything else to talk about? With the running back, the mini Dalvin.
I mean, maybe we get our boy out the doghouse this year.
Are you talking about Tyson? Or are you talking about our boy Nate McCrary?
No, I'm talking about Tyshawn.
Aw, I'm rooting for Nate. Go Nate.
Hey, Nate gonna see if they cut Justice Hill. Nate McCrary he automatically gets on the 53 man roster. But the simple fact that Nate McCrary is a all purpose guy, he'll do whatever to get on the field. That's the type of person he is. That's the type of attitude he gives me. So he doesn't mind playing special teams, stuff like that. So I mean, if we let go of Justice Hill, sure. But I like that young dog, that the head coach put down. I like
we can call him Old Yeller.
Yeah, pretty much at this point.
Tyshawn Williams, Old Yeller. That's tough. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you for watching the episode. Check out the full podcast. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, it really does help the podcast if you do review or rate on Apple Podcasts. It really does help. I don't know why exactly that's how the algorithm works, but the more 5-star ratings and reviews you get, the more it's pushed out to people. So it does really help. If not, totally fine. We'll just be sad. I'm just kidding. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know your thoughts on James Cook. Let us know your thoughts on Jordan Davis, on Miles Boykin, all of those players. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see all of you again.